Hello, this is a recap of an American movie called Big Stan. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin. Stan Minton is a real estate agent living in LA who has everything he wants in life. He is filthy rich and has a beautiful wife, Mindy, who he loves. Stan has a unique way of selling estate to his clients. He usually cheats them of a small amount which has over the years grown large. So one day he's arrested for first-degree fraud. He is found guilty and is told that he will get a sentence of at least 3 years in prison. Desperate to find a way out, he asks his lawyer to bribe the judge. The lawyer does as told, but the conviction is absolute. By faking a charity event, he only managed to get Stan 6 months free time before being imprisoned. After the hearing, the lawyer suggests Stan to take a long trip to Brazil to never return, but he can do so because all his assets have been frozen. Stan has no way but to live the next few months in fear of what is about to come. Starting that day, he does everything quicker because of the limited time. One evening, he is on a date with Mindy, who wants to have a kid, so she won't be alone when he's gone. Stan thinks the idea is absurd because they will have to give up the kid for adoption when he returns. He dreads the idea of having children, which creates a rift in his relationship with his wife. Mindy storms off after his comment while Stan drives to a bar at random. While drinking, he notices a man beside him with a tattoo about going to prison. He asks the guy for tips on prison life and offers him $100 to talk. The man starts by saying that the prison guards do not care about the inmates and their fights. The prisoner could kill each other, but as long as they don't skip, they let you do anything. He also adds that Stan looks like someone who would most definitely be sexually violated by the inmates. Stan realizes that all the rumors about men turning gay in prison are true. He is weak and submissive, which make him the perfect target. When the man suggests he get several tattoos to avoid being targeted, Stan shows him a tattoo of his mother on his arm, which clearly won't work. The man then advises him to join one of the groups in the prison. The groups are mostly divided into Nazis, racist, Mexican man, and African American man. But since Stan doesn't fit in any of these categories, his last resort is to kill someone so inmates would be scared of him. The following morning, he wakes up with a hangover and thinks that he was dreaming. He is distressed when Mindy tells him he is still going to prison. To uplift him, she mentioned his special quality is that he always finds a way. This encourages Stan and makes it his mission to become an alpha in the next 6 months. Starting the next day, exercise every day, and he gets a tattoo in his behind to make it less attractive. He also joins a karate class, but is bored. When asked to learn the basics, he challenges the teacher and he gets in a fight with one of the kids, which results in him being thrown out of the establishment. This is when he meets an old man named the Master. He embraces Stan by breaking a hole in the wall with no effort. He is Stan's only hope to learn self-defense before going to prison. So he brings the old man home to train with him. The Master starts living with them, much to Mindy's annoyance. On his first day of training, Stan is woken up at 5 in the morning by blood from an animal liver pouring in his face. Then the Master makes Mindy blend ox, pancreas, and horse tongues to make a smoothie for her husband. His way of training is different and over the top. Someday he hits Stan with flaming stick, while the other day he hangs him by his skin to test his endurance. He also feeds Stan a variety of weird food like scorpions and snakes. Mindy, who is tired of the Master smoking all around the house, asks her husband to get rid of him. That night, Stan pretends that they are being raped and makes Mindy think she is about to be sexually assaulted. It turns out he is doing this to make her feel what he is feeling. When Mindy stops panicking, she packs her luggage and leaves, claiming that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. The Master is delighted that she left because with only men in the house, the training can get tougher. For the next 5 months, Stan works hard without resting. By the end of it, he manages to take the Master by surprise in combat. For his last test, he goes to fight the karate teacher who wants to throw him out of his class. Stan defeats the man easily and to complete his training. He is finally ready to defend himself when he needs to. The master and the lawyer drop him off at the court. Mandy has still not talked to him, but she watches him secretly from inside her car. Stan finally goes inside and is transported to the prison on the bus. Immediately, a guy tries to touch him inappropriately, but Stan teaches him a lesson. At the prison, they are welcomed by Warden, who kindly asks them to not trouble the guards. But other than that, they can do anything they please to each other. During the cavity check, the new inmates are asked to strip and bend over. The guards are horrified to see Stan's behind that he has modified to make it look unpleasant. Following the cavity check, he goes to his cell and meets his roommate Larry. To assert his dominance, he asks Larry to get to the lower bank. Later, Larry tells him about the prison squads, who have basically formed a gang. The first gang is a group of black men. The second one is a team of Mexican thugs. The third one is Nazi. And the fourth one is racist. Then there's a group of scientists who are great at killing people by talking too much. Lastly, he is introduced to the most dangerous sexual predator of the block, Big Raymond. Raymond is terrorizing a new inmate when Stan approaches him and challenges him in front of everyone. They get into a fight where Stan uses self-defense techniques taught by the master to beat him easily. Impressed by his skills, the leader of the Nazi group, Patterson, tries to invite him to their team, but Stan beats him up as well. Then he is approached by the African-American team, who are furious that he fought Big Raymond. Stan tries to avoid the fight, claiming that he is also black. However, the leader orders his team to attack and fight breaks. The guards enjoy the show, while Stan defeats them efficiently. After the commotion, the entire prison is afraid of Stan. People make way for him everywhere he goes. They all establish him as the alpha of the prison and they call him Big Stan. A young guy named Droopy, who he saved from Raymond earlier, comes to thank him, but Stan dismisses him, claiming that he didn't fight those guys for anyone other than himself. Later, Warden calls Stan to his office and reveals that he bought some buttons to get Stan in his specific prisons. It turns out that the gas is planning to take over the prison property and build an estate. Since Stan is an experienced realtor, he wants his help to find out any flaw in the documents relating to it. In turn for his help, Stan is offered to be freed only after a year of imprisonment. The idea piques his interest, and he agrees to help. He asks Gasco how he is going to get rid of the prison, but the warden wants to keep that part a secret. In the meantime, the group of inmates have joined hands to teach Stan a lesson. When he is showering one day, Patterson attacks him with a knife made out of metal toothbrush and a razor blade. In turn, Stan brings out his nunchaku made of soup bars and shoelace. He easily beats Patterson up and sends him to the hospital. Stan misses his wife desperately and wants to meet her. He contacts his lawyer to see if she has sent him the divorce paper. To his relief, she hasn't yet. After that, he begins to work on the Warden project. He is introduced to a Vietnamese mafia turned politician, Dang, who is Gag's partner on the project and is helping him sabotage the prison. Stan overhears them talking about their plan to get rid of the prison from the property. He finds out that they are about to make the inmates fight each other, so the guards shoot some of them. That way, the boards of governors will have to consider closing the prison altogether because it's not being managed properly. Stan feels like it is his responsibility to help the inmates even though they want to kill him. The following day, he arranged a meeting to set some rules and boundaries in the prison. Firstly, he threw away all their violent video games and movies because they are a bad influence. Then, he declares sexual assault as a punishable crime. Anyone who does it has to answer to him directly. When the man whines, he asks them to be involved in consensual homosexual sex instead. The concept is new to them, but they agree to do it anyway. During the next lunch break, Ruby and some men approach Stan's table and thank him for making that new assault rule. Stan tries to pass it off as him starting a dominance, but Ruby knows that he cares about their well-being. At another table, Big Raymond and his new boyfriend can be seen enjoying a meal together. They are in happy homosexual relationship thanks to Stan. Ruby and his group, along with Big Raymond and his boyfriend, join Stan's group. After that, Stan is given a letter addressed to him by Mandy. He had written to her apologizing for doing what he did now. She wants to meet him. Over the next couple of days, If anyone gets into an argument, they come to Stan to solve it. Eventually, everyone starts liking each other and living in harmony. One day, Mindy comes to visit Stan, and the two make love. At the same time, Gask is informed about what Stan has been up to. The man is furious at him for solving the inmates' conflicts. Stan is dragged away in the middle of his special time with Mindy. Gask calls him out for trying to sabotage his plan and threatens to make Dang kill him if he doesn't follow their orders. The following day, Stan calls his lawyer to ask for his opinion. The lawyer suggests he do as told because Gask is a powerful man. After the call, Stan tells everyone that their problem is not his responsibility and they can go back to how they are before he comes to the prison. Soon, the fights start to break out again. Ruby approaches Stan in the cafeteria, but he throws the poor guy's plate to ask him to go away. Even Larry is disappointed in him. He tries to walk away, but Stan stops him and asks him to stay away from the metal fence at noon. Larry realizes that Stan is being forced into doing something he doesn't want to do. He tells all other inmates about this, and they start to plan something. Meanwhile, Gask arranges a meeting between Stan and the parole board to discuss his early release. While he is in the meeting, Gask shows a board of governors around the prison. He plans to execute the plan at the noon near the fence, since most of the inmates get into conflict at noon. He wants to take the opportunity to kill some of them while the board members witness it. Stan pretends to be a horrible person in front of the purple board to get out of the room and alerts the other to not go near the fence. He is stopped by Dang, who reveals that he has also been trained by the master. They get into an intense fight. Initially, Dang is proven to be more skilled, but Stan takes the lead and knocks Dang out. By this time, the inmates have already gathered in the field with weapons. The guards get ready to shoot them, but to their surprise, the inmates perform a dance number in a Mexican song. A frustrated Gask snatches a gun and fires randomly. The board sees this and is ready to take action against him. Before going down, Gask wants to kill Stan, but he is saved by Mindy. It's revealed that she had been training with the master for the past 6 months. The scene cuts to 3 years later. Stan has finally completed his prison time and is returning home. His fellow inmates wish them goodbye, and Patterson even gets a tattoo of his face on his belly. Mindy and the master come to pick him up with the 3-year-old daughter.